Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time. All right, thank y'all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hi, I'm Rian Simpson, also known as DJ RainTree.
Hello.
What's up, Joe?
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do, give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Okay, well, I am originally from Gladstone, Oregon, just south of Portland.
Okay, so you've been here your whole life?
I've been here my whole life. I'm living up in Scappoose now, but the Portland area in general. Yeah, and I got started in music young, 8 years old, started playing piano, moved on to guitar, went from guitar to drums in 5th grade, did that all through high school.
How long did you play the piano before you got into guitar?
I took a year and a half of private lessons or so.
Okay.
And then I had an uncle who just gave me a guitar. And I think what we all know is that guitar players get more chicks than piano players. So
that is the rule.
I made a solid transition right over to that. Didn't help, but and then I wasn't good enough to play guitar in classical band settings, so I went to drums because I can just beat on things, and did that all through high school, and went into audio recording in college and studied that. Got out of that and just went and got a corporate job and kind of just played music on the side. And then I would say my dad died in 2014. And right after that was when I kind of discovered the whole DJing aspect of music. And I had a buddy who owned a business. Mm-hmm. And he was like, hey, I need someone in here Friday and Saturday nights playing music. I know you own a bunch of gear because I had PAs and stuff.
Yeah.
And do you think you could put anything together on your MacBook Pro and jam for 4 or 5 hours every Friday, Saturday? I roughed it in virtual DJ for a year.
Oh, shout out to virtual DJ. That is
top tier, baby.
If you didn't start with that, you didn't start. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That is, and it gave you so much more than it should have.
Oh, it did.
It gave us everything in the beginning.
And I became a gangster at keyboard shortcuts too.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't have a controller or anything to go off with, so I was just kind of aux jack and figuring out the keyboard. Mm-hmm. And then one night I was sitting in his establishment. It was a hookah bar. Mm-hmm. And we're smoking hookah, and the lady who works there is like, hey, my friend in the corner is like a professional DJ with real turntables and all that. You guys should meet. And so then that girl and I got to talking. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I'll bring that, like the turntables. You bring the speakers. We'll plug together. We'll get free hookah. Mm-hmm. And we'll just do that every Friday and Saturday. So that was kind of like a whole year of that. And that was really the start of it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So growing up, was anybody in your household musical at all? Or were they just you will learn instruments?
So my mom learned piano when she was young.
Oh.
And the whole reason we got this piano is because we went to a home and garden show. And this will tell you how long ago this piano, it was 1998. So this piano was a Technics. And it had 12 sounds on it, and it cost $2,500 in 1998.
Yep.
Because technology wasn't there, and this was the state-of-the-art thing. Mm-hmm. It's weighted keys, it's 88 keys, it's everything. And now it's totally obsolete.
I bet that key bed is still really nice, though.
It's very nice to play.
I was going to say, does it have a MIDI out?
It has MIDI out, so it still does.
I was gonna say you should repurpose that as a like dedicated desk controller.
Yeah, and that's kind of my buddy's kid is using it right now to learn piano.
Oh, all right. I guess that's better.
We're educating the youth, but after
Boo! No, I'm kidding. Jimmy is pro educating the youth.
Yeah. After she's done learning, we'll get it back and turn it into a studio rig for sure. But yeah, that was my mom. Kind of had that dream of getting back into piano, and she was just working like 80 hours a week, so it never happened. And I saw it, and I was like, "This is mine now." So that was kind of the start of that.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then before we get into more of what you do in the present day, do you have a couple foundation questions I like to check in with everybody on? This first one is one we ask early. It's one we ask often. And it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Oh, with my own money. I grew up with a dad who was good at pirating, so I didn't buy a lot of albums.
Fair. I mean, if it was later in life. Like,
it was later in life.
One?
It was Death Cab for Cutie, Narrow Stairs.
Oh, okay.
A lot later in life, if you know.
Yeah.
When that album came out. But yeah, I burned and ripped a lot of music as a kid. Unless the government's listening.
Yeah, we always say allegedly on this show.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I was gifted like some of my first foundational album or CDs I had was Will Smith Millennium.
Oh, hell yeah.
Smash Mouth Astro Lounge, Bare Naked Ladies. I had a lot of like classic rock, like Beatles and stuff. But yeah, those were like the three pop artists of the time.
I support that.
And then my sister was into like Spice Girls, Backstreet Boys, and so I got a little sampling of her CDs too. So
it sounds like we had similar musical household dynamics.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, I dig that. And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to that was specifically one you wanted to go to? So like you saw it was happening, you got the tickets, you went to it.
High school years, one of the first ones I legit and first bands, I still love them today, is Say Anything.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah, when they released their In Defense of the Genre album, me and like 3 or 4 people bought tickets, and it was at Hawthorne Theater, and so I was like right on the stage there, and they actually just did a 20th anniversary show, and I went and saw that.
Yeah, everybody's coming out of the woodworks
and
right
I
now.
Said, God, I'm old. But yeah, that was probably the first one I ever paid money besides locals. Like I was playing in shows when I was 15, so
yeah.
But those weren't anyone big, so
yeah, I mean, and
I wasn't paying to get into them, so
that's still pretty rad.
Yeah.
All right, and then before we officially get into it, do you have a defining moment where you decided you wanted to take like music more seriously?
Yeah, 2008 when I was done with high school, and I was like, I just thought to myself, like, I'm not really that great at anything besides music.
I feel you on that.
So what am I going to do with my life? And my parents were like pushing me to go figure out to do something in college. And of course, your parents always want you to sacrifice your love for money.
Yeah.
And so they're like, get a good paying job, get, that. And I was like, dude, I'm a drummer who just knows how to slap things and, slap the skins. And then I was like, I figured out that Clackamas Community College had the biggest recording studio west of the Mississippi, and they were doing this awesome audio recording program that cost me like literally $3,000. I was like, even if it all goes wrong, I've only spent $3,000, and my sister was spending like, I don't know, $70,000 to go to Oregon State University. So I was like, yeah, and she got 3 degrees, but I didn't even finish mine, so whatever. But the whole reason why I didn't finish was because I got near the end of it and people were paying me money to record.
And you learned enough.
Yeah, people in the music industry don't care about papers.
Yeah.
They just, what's the quality of product you can deliver? Let's do it, so.
Yeah, the paper's more just like you can put it on your wall if you ever have a place where people need to look at your wall when they walk in first.
And I know Photoshop. I can just make that up anytime I want. So
I mean, you could basically say you did. No, they're not going to Google it.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, oh, let me check the alumni page. Oh.
Yeah. It seems you didn't go there at all.
Oh, the twist.
And the twist, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing all that. But let's go ahead. Let's get on into the present day.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a super easy one out of the way. How'd you pick the name?
my name is spelled Rian. My middle name's Taylor. And my sister in high school told all her friends that my parents were massive stoner hippies and that my original birth name was RainTree, as in because they flipped the letters and then they chose tree, kind of like Taylor, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, so she told a bunch of people this. And so people just started calling me Rain. And then when the invention of SoundCloud came out, I had gotten soundcloud.com/RainTree. And then when I became a DJ, I was like, well, I'm uploading stuff to this page.
Yeah, it's already there.
Let's just take that so I don't ever have to come up with anything else brand new. So that was the name.
Oh yeah, I dig that.
Yeah.
It's a good story. It's easy to spell. It's easy to remember. It looks cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think you covered all your
I've
bases.
only doubted those facts several times in the last 10 years.
Oh, believe me, I'm a big fan of I grew up around graphic art and design, so I see logos.
Oh yeah,
I like that scene from The Hangover when he sees all the numbers.
Oh yeah,
that's like how my brain processes them. So yeah, definitely a super solid one.
Thank you. Yeah, the Fist logo was my buddy Trevor's idea, and he did the graphic design work, and it's stuck. So yeah, I love it now.
Oh yeah. Now let's go ahead and I'm gonna ask you some like DJ focused questions.
Okay.
And this first one, just kind of a general one. What do you look for when it comes to like track selection? And I mean, if you're big on different scenarios, you can pose a couple, or if you have like you're doing it for you kind of thing, how do you go about that?
When I'm doing it for me, it's mostly like just what I want to hear at the time. Sometimes I'll make mixes and throw them up online, and they're just like in my garage by myself. And it's usually if I know I want to make something with a purpose. Like, so for example, some mixes in the past have been based on females. So like they're girl empowerment, like women empowerment, like all female artist mixes. Or if I'm trying to make a banging playlist to the gym, I'll come up with a way to play songs that I want to listen to when I go work out. Yep. And stuff like that. But if it's I do a lot of corporates, a lot of weddings, stuff like that. It's whatever the person wants to hear,
Yeah. I mean,
right in the chat.
Yeah, they're gonna give you a list.
Yeah, and not always. I mean, sometimes they're like,
they just give you a style.
Yeah, they're like, we like 90s hip hop, we like 2000s pop, we like rock and roll, and we like country.
Yeah,
throw them all together.
Yep.
And when they say that, that's probably the easiest for me because it's like it's boundaries, but it's like such a wide boundary.
Yeah, that no matter what comes on, people are just gonna be like, oh, it's this song.
It's this,
and
yeah.
You can play more of just the hits.
Yeah. And
because it's like a more minimized amount of each genre.
Right.
So even if each genre, like in a fictitious world, only had 100, if you're playing 500 songs, that's 400 hits.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing I was going to say is that people love when you go from, Dr. Dre to Toby Keith.
Yeah.
Back to, it's like, they're like, I would never picture those two songs working together. And then you've just introduced them to the fact that this is possible, and people love that kind of stuff. So I kind of like doing those crazy mashups where you take like the acapella from like a rap track and run it into the instrumental of like Boot Scoot and Boogie or something. So
yes, the classic.
Yeah. So yeah.
And then when it's more of the like you have to do kind of a certain like required setting gig like that. Do you have like go-to tracks, like ones that work in pretty much every situation?
Yeah,
And is it Happy?
Oh, Happy by Pharrell is definitely on the songs white people love list.
Yes,
along with Cha Cha Slide and Shuffle, and I talk about it a lot on my podcast about how those are like the go-to, like, oh, this will get everyone to the dance floor sort of thing. And Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake.
Hold on, that's actually a good one. No,
that's a great song, yeah. But it was overplayed in the year it came out, so
oh man,
now it's on that list of Electric Slide is like a classic one that people love to bring back out. Yeah, those are like some go-tos. I can always count on Yeah by Usher just being like the most like pinnacle, like people turn their heads and rush to the dance floor.
That's the one you put on exactly 45 minutes after everybody's eaten.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, digestion Done.
Yeah. And run it into Get Low by Lil Jon.
Oh my God. Yep. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. How many times have I heard those two songs?
I know.
To each other.
Exactly.
Tried and true.
I'm a stereotypical guy sometimes.
Now I want to go listen to those songs. I'll be right back. No, I'm kidding. But thank you for sharing those.
Yeah.
And now we're going to take a moment. We're going to kind of talk gear.
So
what is it? And just, you don't have to break it down like chord by chord, but just give us the big bits. What do you use when you like go out and do your stuff?
So for DJ gigs, I'm using the Evolve 50s by EV.
Oh, great choice.
Thank you.
Great. Do you have a pair of them?
I have a pair.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
In black.
Everybody, that is a wise decision. If you do DJing, write that down.
Yeah, I mean, there's other brands like RCF and QSC just came out with a new pair that it's great.
Yeah, but
they're very expensive.
Like Bose and EV were the first ones like really like doing it proper.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard the QSC one. I'm sure it's great. QSC does a great job. But the EV ones, I like they are so musically good. Like they make things sound exciting. Like instead of being like, hey, we cover 290 degrees.
Well, that is one of the reasons why I got them is they do 180 degrees.
Yeah, well, they have a good coverage, but like that
cool.
wasn't the selling point. They were like, listen how cool it sounds. So
yeah.
I am a huge fan of that piece of it. Have you tried the 90s at all?
The bigger ones?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I'm
not rich.
We're getting too far into the weeds here. Let's get back to you on this.
No, that's okay. That's just the speakers I use. If I need more sound, I bring out like some ZLXs by EV. I used to have QSC K12s, which were just mega loud, and those were great.
Yeah.
But and then as far as like my actual unit that I bring out, I bought a custom. Well, I didn't buy it custom. I did the customization. I bought a case that has a slider for the laptop on top, and I only use one Rain 12, which is a digital turntable that basically allows you to do 4 turntables in one. And then I use a Rain 70 as my mixer, which has, the whole 8 pads on each side, so it's a 16 pad.
Yeah.
And all the
all the effects and the layers and stuff. Yeah.
Stuff there. And then I only have 1 and 1 because this one does 4, so I don't need to have a second turntable on the left.
Yeah.
And that case is probably about 3 feet, so it's like 36 inches. And then what the custom part of it is that I hired a guy to cut a hole in the box to where you can just plug the one box in, and then everything in it turns on.
Nice. Oh, I love that.
I have wireless mic in there. I have the mixer, the turntable, the laptop. There's going to be a DMX for lighting put in there soon. And so all my sound and lights is in one box, and then all I have to do is plug in that one XLR, and I run mono out to one, and then daisy chain it to the other. And then if I need more mics, I can plug those into the mixers on the back of the speakers. But most of the time, all these gigs is just one mic and a turntable, and that's it. But
you should.
And I have a MacBook Pro.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, of course.
You should invest in an. I'm putting it on here for you for later.
Yeah.
The MG06. Is it the XU?
Oh, this thing right here. Yeah.
Yes, the MG06X.
Yes. I have
this
is my Amazon card actually.
This is the best tiny mixer you can ever buy.
Yeah.
For 2 primary reasons. We're going to nerd real hard. XLR outs.
Yes.
Which is amazing. And it's got the tiniest amount of effects that work great if you want to, but really the fact that you can treat this all as one from the surface, phenomenal. Right. Phenomenal. And it's tiny.
Is that 2 XLRs in?
Yeah, 2 XLRs in. Excuse me. It's got adapters in there.
Yeah.
Y'all are loving this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's 2 XLRs in, and then 2 pairs of 1/4 inch in, and then 2 XLR outs, and then headphones.
Yeah.
So, all right, you should have paused it there when you watched this later. All right, but getting back to it. So you got your primary DJing rig, so when you're, I have a question now then.
Yeah.
Since you only have the one.
Yeah.
How do you mix 2 songs at once? Or do you just kind of like...
So, yeah.
It one into the other?
If you look at the Rain 70, which we won't pull it up, but there's a button next to your up and down faders. And it says instant doubles. And so what it does is when you press the button on your left track, it duplicates the right track on the left track. So you drop the song in on the right channel, you press instant doubles, which takes it to the left channel. You move your crossfader to the left channel. You upload the new one on the right.
God,
I broke my wrist when I was 16.
Oh no.
So it does this.
Was it from playing too hard at drums?
No, I was in a fight actually.
Oh no.
Which is so funny. This is off topic, but the guy who broke my wrist is watching my dogs this weekend while I go to Idaho. So it didn't ruin our friendship, but we still joke about it.
But it definitely makes a gnarly sound.
Oh yeah, it pops real hard. Can we see it on screen? But yeah, it's cool. It's cool in the sense that it works, but I can't.
Yeah, you can't do all the fancy stuff. Yeah.
So I predominantly scratch and mix in tracks with my right hand, which is kind of. I mean, I used to have a left turntable, but it just kind of sat there and looked good. So,
hey, if it cuts down on weight, I don't think people realize how you like shaving off even like 5 pounds sometimes.
49 pounds, dude.
Yeah.
It's like
because you got the motors in there, you got the whole system, you got the platter part. Like
the whole case with everything loaded in it is like close to 100.
When I was in my last band, Smooth Talk, shout out Smooth Talk, rest in peace.
Plug.
I also took a DJ flight case, so like a
nice
turntable one, so like for 2 techniques and a 4-channel mixer.
Wow. I
took one of those, gutted it, wired it all up so that I could have an MPC.
Ooh.
A micro Korg XL, a talk box, a stand, and a microphone that would like decouple and sit in the case.
Oh, nice.
And then like a bunch of like effects and IO.
Wow.
And it all just sat on a nice V stand.
Yeah.
The lid came off and it all turned on. Like it was the same as yours.
Yeah.
One switch.
One IEC.
Turned it all on. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, mine was just a power strip that was part of the box. I just plugged it into the wall. But yeah, it was all there.
Sorry, I gotta adjust.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, that was my first rendition of that box, but I had this big gnarly cable hanging out the center of it, and my buddy's like, I could just wire that in. So,
I love. Shout out to people who know how to do stuff like that.
Yeah, that
or
guy
have the ability to do.
That
stuff
guy's
like that.
name is Elijah Locke. He is the touring drum tech for Lorna Shore right now.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And I just met him through like Facebook and mutual friends, and he's so talented. He builds like custom guitar rigs for lots of famous touring people.
There are a lot of people out in this area that actually like they do a lot of bigger things in that line of work just because it's a little bit quieter.
Yeah,
so they've all like a lot of people in those kinds of realms have moved out to this area in particular.
Yeah. I don't know how much time he actually spends in this area because they are wildly touring. But yeah,
but that's even too like you know that your stuff's probably going to get left alone for the most part, which is nice. Yeah. But getting back to it, when it comes to picking out new music, what do you go through when you decide like what makes the cut?
So if you don't know, DJs use record pools, and record pools have edits from DJs. They also have versions of the track that are like intro, where it has like 8 bars of the beat before the drop. They have acapella edits, all sorts of crazy stuff. So like you could look up the newest Sabrina Carpenter song and there's like 32 versions of this one track. I choose intro clean, dirty intro. So if it has swearing and it has clean because I have to play it at like school dances.
Yeah. The corporate life.
Yeah. I try to find like an acapella out because I really like those tracks. And then I just start playing remixes. There's a lot of great DJs out there who have created their versions, or they'll be like EDM up tempo edits and stuff like that. And I think maybe I could use that at some point in my career, and I'll download it, whether I ever use it or not. You know, I have like 2 terabytes, so who really cares? But I'll download it. And, you know, if later on down the line, I'm like, I've never played this song and the song's been out for 5 years, I just delete it. So,
okay.
But mostly it's DJ intro, clean, dirty, and then an acapella out is like my go-to because before Serato came out with stems, which is where you can delete out certain instruments.
Yeah, other DAWs are starting to bring that in now.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, and there's a lot. There's actually one literally meant just for DJs that you can separate out everything.
Is it the one Native Instruments does? I know they have their own, and it's wild.
And it works really well too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Shout out Native Instruments. You make cool stuff.
Everything they make is cool, and I just don't have enough money. But Yeah, I haven't really gotten into that as much as other DJs. I just like to download.
I mean, if
out. So.
Yeah, I mean, also you're not operating heavily in a realm where you need to like play creative acrobat.
No, yeah,
you know, like
people are pretty entertained sometimes, but just
well, a lot of your settings, I'm sure, are just like getting the songs through, and then you chop it up when you feel like having fun.
Yeah, and
in the moment,
I do spice up weddings pretty hard.
Oh, yeah,
because I do scratching and you know, all sorts of DJ tricks and stuff. So
you're just doing like backflips for no reason.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I dig that. And then just looking at the time from when you started DJing like actively to now, what would you say are some of the like biggest changes in process that you feel like really benefited the experience?
I would say getting around people who are really good at what we do, and just learning things that they did. A lot of the guys have taught me the art of key matching, which obviously I knew keys from playing music, but they taught key matching, you know, different ways to take slower songs and speed them up to match, even if it's like a ridiculous gap. Different transitions and stuff like that. I'd say when I started though, because I had so much background in music, it was such an easier process probably than most people had, because I was a drummer for 10 years.
Yeah, you were actively listening to music from a young age. Like a lot of people passively listen to music most of their life. So you already knew how the parts worked. You already knew how things could mix together. You've probably been making imaginary mashups in your head since you were like 7.
Right.
Like, you know, it just like that narrative has existed for so long that by the time you get into it.
If we're being honest, the girl who started me out, her name was Sue. She's passed away now, but back when we first started, I kind of went from being average to getting gigs pretty fast because of my background in music. And there was that like I don't know if it was jealousy or if it was like one of those things where it was like, how did this work out so well for him? Because it's only been a year and I was already getting like big corporate stuff like Nike and Dutch Bros and all that stuff. And part of it is just who you know. Like, you know the right people, you can get bigger gigs. And I've seen some of my friends who are second generation DJs. And yeah, clearly if your parent is something big, it's just going to be okay.
Yeah. Nepotism. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No,
it's not like that. He definitely.
No, if you're putting in the work, it's like you're the second vert. Like, there's no reason you can't enjoy what your parents did and continue at. You know what I mean?
And you've been watching them do it at
that's what I'm saying.
Level
like,
for so long. So it's like you're already set up for greatness.
Yeah, your brain is wired to think in that way already. Why not let it ride?
So when I see people like that go from 0 to 60 and be like successful quickly, it makes sense. So you're growing up in an environment like
that supports it.
Yeah, and I mean, I grew up in an environment that supported music, but then like DJing was just such a natural transition, and I was single, ready to make money.
Yeah, you could be out late.
I was a slave to the game, and I would go anywhere, man. That first year I went, the company I partnered with that first year was Seattle to Medford, Medford to Spokane. That was our triangle there. Just like a whole area.
Yeah.
And I was doing like 150 gigs that year. So. Yeah, I put over 200,000 miles on my Subaru Forester in 3 years. So my ass was buried in that seat.
Not bad.
Yeah, sleeping in my driveway. I'd fall asleep. Like I'd pull up to the house and just fall asleep. I was just
At least you make it all the way home first.
Yeah, so sometimes I'd pull over in church parking lots and just sleep in a random church in Ridgefield, Washington, like or wherever along the I-5 corridor I was stopping. So yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all that. Now I want to transition to something a little different, because you don't just DJ.
Yeah.
You're also the host of the Spinning Around podcast.
Yes, this is new.
Yeah.
And I'm nowhere close to as good as you.
Oh, well, hey, let's not do. It's not a comparison game. We are both people doing similar things.
Yeah.
But I am very curious to know, just kind of like, because it started at the end of last year, right? Somewhere around was it November? Or is it a little earlier than that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I feel like it was somewhere around there. And like you do very similar thing. You sit down, you talk to people about you put it as the good, the bad, and the ugly side of the entertainment. Yeah. And I think that covers it well. But just tell us the backstory. What inspired you to get it going?
Well, I have a wife, and she...
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a hard process, and but I've acquired one. And my wife and I were... Well, I was working weddings, and she was selling wedding dresses at the time.
Oh.
This is long before this podcast came out. But we had always talked about doing a podcast where we talked about the terrible times. Because, you have bridezillas that come in and buy wedding dresses, and I have some stories from the road.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah. So lots of that going on, and we had discussed it, and then she quit her job and moved on to working in a chiropractic clinic. So, but occasionally we revisit the idea and after a terrible gig or something. and one day I was just bored at my day job. I was sitting on the couch and I was like, man, maybe I should just look into how much it would be to buy microphones and how, watch a few YouTube videos on, is it easy to record this? Do I need, how much money do I have to invest in this to get something off the ground? And I didn't know you can host on Spotify for free, which is awesome. And
shout out Anchor.
Yeah.
We were talking about that off camera.
Oh, yeah. And there's a guy named Isaac Abrams who is he has the Isaac Abrams show, and he also does Drew Lynch, the comedian's show. And I had met him when he was in Portland. And so we talk on Instagram, and he just kind of got me gave me the general knowledge of Spotify will let you do video and audio and all this stuff. And you don't have to be fancy, but if you want to be, there's options for that. And I was like, you know what? I'm at work. Let me just come up with a logo and a name for this. And I pulled out ChatGPT and had it do all the work. And because I couldn't think of a name off the top of my head, but I was like, I'm a DJ. I do this, blah, blah, blah. Come up with 25 names. And I started looking through them, and I was like, no. I don't even remember how I got to spin around, but it was like two of them I combined pretty much.
Yeah.
And and then I bought a microphone, and Amazon lost it in shipping, and so they sent me another one. And then
thanks, Bezos.
Yeah, and then the first one showed up, so now I have two.
Nice.
The price of one.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly I have two. Yeah. And so so anyways, I got started with those two mics, and then it was all just about I wanted to not just do wedding industry people, because that was our original idea, but I don't want to run out of people.
Yeah. And
I'm only so close to so many people in the industry. And so I was like, maybe I'll do people just in entertainment. So I wanted to do venue owners. I thought about doing bands. And so then my first band was Never Sunny, who you've had on.
Never Sunny, yeah.
Yes, big fans of Never Sunny. David and I go way back, and just the other four are just amazing too. And so we did that one, and then crazy enough, I feel like I'm doing so many more bands now because of Never Sunny. Referred Hard Pill, and then Hard Pill's referred.
Shout out Hard Pill.
Yeah. Shout out Hard Pill. I'm a big fan of theirs.
This is just for Duncan.
Oh.
Shout out to the DIY Guide to Touring. Or DIY. Yeah.
The DIY
Tour Guide. Sorry.
Yeah.
Best book ever. If you do any kind of music and you want to go places with it, buy this book. And if you want to know more about why you should buy this book, go watch Duncan's episode.
Oh, okay. So anyways, I had Hard Pill on, and then I've gotten their videographer out of it, and then someone else referred, because it's like a long referral chain of different people I've never met. And as much as I love interviewing the people that I already know, part of the joy of doing this podcast has really just been meeting so many people that I would have never met before. I was not into the genre of Hard Pill. I mean, I listened to it in the past.
I mean, they have a pretty broad spectrum too.
Yeah, that's also true. They kind of just write whatever the fuck they want. So.
Yeah. But it all does have an umbrella.
It does have an umbrella. They're not doing jazz. So, but yeah. And so
you don't just sit there and listen. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Keep going.
I would love for Duncan to just sing that in my ear, but yeah. But yeah, so it's led to these other people that I've never gotten to talk to. And I love just talking to them even now that we've finished the episode. Like I talk to those guys all the time on Instagram. So, and kind of just watching their lives unfold too has been nice. So what was the original question?
I think just you were telling us about your experience with the pod.
Yeah. It's been great. I mean, so far it's a learning experience, a lot of, the audio aspect of it and forgetting your chargers and different things.
Oh, trust me, I know that all too well. Too well.
I'm pretty mobile with it, unlike where we're at, like in your home.
Oh, well, this is just my at-home rig.
Yeah. I take mine all the time mobile.
I did up until I got to the point where, because of so many episodes, I was having to take apart the room every other weekend. So I was just like, all right, it's time to start doubling down on at least some of the more reasonable, like obviously, my primary things, like I'm not made out of money, but like the core support, I try to double down on everything so that I have a travelable rig, because this is a bit more of an operation that I have to keep at home.
Right. And
now, thanks to this amazing table by Percussion Carpentry, all the wires are kind of
stuck.
Yeah, Velcroed. They're Velcroed. Nothing is permanent, because in audio, nothing is permanent.
True.
But it is all Velcroed.
Yeah. The whole learning experience of being mobile has been just great. And then I really like going to, like, I did Never Sunny's in Joey's living room, so I got to see them practice before we did the episode.
Yeah.
And hear,
like, a really cool perspective to have before sitting down with them.
Right. And they were playing new music that no one else has ever heard, so that was kind of fun. And then the Hard Pill guys came out to me, and we all sat down and ate pizza and chatted and then got into it. And it's just real laid back work. I'm not trying to be Joe Rogan and have a $150,000 studio or whatever, and talk for 3 hours. I originally was aiming for an hour, and now I feel like I'm aiming for 35 minutes or so, like, because people don't have as long a drives to work as I do, so or free time to listen to the whole episodes. But yeah, it's been good.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And again, I gotta say, as a person who does it, it's kind of cool to hear other people's experience with it. And you kind of nailed it, the opportunity to like interact with everybody, especially if you keep it kind of like objective on like what you're trying to like achieve as far as the talking points, like everybody's aware of it. Like it's a really cool format, and it's cool to just be able to kind of expand on the way the world sees music, because I feel like the narrative got really weird for a little while. Yeah.
And we do me, I'm the only guy. I do the music, but I'm also interested in hearing like photographers and videographers and more people outside of the musicians. And kind of like, I love a good horror story, which sounds bad, but like, I just love when shit hits the fan. And I did a great episode with 3 women who are wedding planners, and they're there from like the start of the day to the end of the day in that field. And so you can run into a lot of things.
Oh yeah. Well, like you said, Brazilia's.
Oh yeah. And so some of their stories are just amazing. And I also like giving the platform to newer bands who can talk about like why they started their thing. Like some of these people I've interviewed don't have, an album out. They have like a few singles.
Yeah.
And they're working on something, and it's like, okay, let's talk about what got you into it, and why are you doing this specifically, and are you going to move on to something else, or is this like your long-term plan? And so we chat about that kind of stuff, and it's been really great to hear why people are doing music at, I say, our age. I'm 35 now, so the mid-30s, late 20s, still keeping it going when it's harder than when you were in your teens and 20s.
So. Very much so.
Very much
so. Well, thank you for sharing all that. And y'all definitely make sure to go check it out. Follow it everywhere. Just go. If you don't have whatever platform it's on, download it. Do that anyway. But we'll do ads and plugs and things like that at the end. This next question is going to round out this middle portion. And it's probably the densest question in the interview.
Okay.
But we've talked about, your experience with music, the actions, the reactions. But when it's just you and music, one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
Peace. I play a lot to like relax.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm at home and it's just me, I have a nice guitar rig in my garage. That I don't DJ at home, by the way.
Yeah. No,
I'm not weird like that. I guess I could practice, but I don't. I play my guitar rig, Fender Hot Rod DeVille 410.
Nice.
And whatever guitars laying around the house.
Do you have
I have an Eddie Van Halen Frankenstrat replica.
Okay.
Because my other two hollow bodies are at the studio. But,
darn.
Yeah. I probably have a few more guitars in the garage too. I just don't look around much. But yeah, I just sit there and I just kind of strum and play and whatever comes to my brain. I'm not really playing any sort of songs. Sometimes I'll bring the whole thing into my living room and have a big TV, so I put on like backing tracks in the key of whatever. And I'll just play solos to jazz or blues or whatever's on rock sometimes. And so I guess when I'm writing music, it just kind of comes to me, and I've actually wrote some stuff recently that I'm not in a band, so I reached out to David and Joey at Never Sunny and was like, here's a cool riff. You guys want to do some of that?
Yeah. I
don't care. And they're like, that is really cool, and we will definitely think about that. So it's cool to pass some stuff off to those guys, and because I don't get a chance to record with too many people due to my schedule of DJing. I just don't have time to fit in music as much as I wished. But I do like to sit down and just relax and really mellow out on coming up with cool things and just sitting around. So
oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
It's cool that music has been such a present part of your life since such a young age.
Yeah.
And that you've always you've always been like front with like wanting to go towards it. And it seems that you've kind of landed in a space that seems to be pretty comfortable and fitting.
Yeah.
For like how you want to operate in it in a way that you can still have, it sounds like a bit of a regular life, at least in addition, a bit.
I have a day job.
Yeah.
And I call music the fun weekends.
Yeah.
So
yeah, see, I guess you can even make money off of the thing that you enjoy doing. And that is, as they say, the dream.
The real dream would be making so much money I don't have to have the day job.
Yeah. Well, we'll just
and some people say I could do it. And I did for a while, and it was great. The problem is I wasn't making that Steve Aoki level.
Yeah.
So I was making enough to like pay the rent and survive, but I wasn't able to go on vacations and do cool shit.
Yeah.
And so I went back to having a day job, and I work right now with an 8-year-old autistic boy, and it's probably the most rewarding job I've ever had.
Wow.
Helping him live a meaningful life. And then, I do have a lot of downtime, so I can kind of work on some DJ stuff on there. But yeah, it's pretty cool to then go on and on my weekends get to spend it with people, and every gig's a party. You're not really, it's not like going to a corporate job for sure.
No. Hell yeah.
It's a lot of work, but a lot of lifting heavy pieces of equipment. And your back hurts and you're tired and too sweaty in areas.
Your sleep schedule's all weird.
Yeah. And I have a dog that wakes me up at 5 a.m. so mine's really screwed.
Yeah. At certain points you're just like, it's 3:58. I'm gonna stay up until the dog needs to use it.
Yeah, no joke. Yep. That's sometimes what it feels like.
Oh, been there. There have been times where I'm like, it's so late, I'm so hungry, but I have to eat, but I have to go to sleep right now.
Right.
So I'm gonna make a small thing that's part of a bigger thing now, eat it, fall asleep, wake up, eat the rest of the thing when I wake up.
Yeah, there you go.
Like just make that sandwich in my body in post, because it just, I need something in me to sleep, but I need to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely, the last gig I did, I went to bed on an empty stomach. I was hungry, and I was like, I'll just eat in the morning, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for sharing all that with us. Now we're going to go ahead and jump on into some hypothetical questions.
Okay.
And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well. But this first one is pretty straightforward. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive.
Okay.
who would you want to work with and how would you want to work with them?
He is alive and I do sort of know him. It's Thomas Pridgeon. He was the drummer for the Mars Volta years ago. He went on to do a band called the Memorials. He's played with Suicidal Tendencies and all sorts of other famous bands. And he's an amazing drummer. And as someone who grew up playing drums, I think just to be in a room watching would be incredible. But now that I play a lot more guitar, I would love to just jam and come up with things with him. The other person that's really interesting is Esperanza Spalding, who's the famous bass player.
Yeah.
I think she has an amazing voice and obviously incredible skills on bass. And she wrote an album that I have. She wrote it in 77 hours, I want to say. It was all about sevens and stuff, whatever. It was literally like she brought in a group of musicians. They recorded the whole album from nothing to, they wrote it on a giant wall, wrote, recorded, live streamed the whole thing.
Damn.
And only made 777 copies of the vinyl, which I have one, which is sick.
Nice.
And you can't stream it on Spotify. You can't hear it anywhere except for this vinyl, which I thought was a very cool concept. And I'd love to be in a room with a person that has that brain.
I have
because that would be awesome.
I have Czarface's Noir album, which is
nice.
It's not available, or at least I haven't checked recently. But when he put it out originally, he was like, you have to go through a record store day to get this. I'm not putting it up anywhere. So I don't know if he's put it up yet. So internet, don't yell at me if he did. But
I feel like someone eventually.
I mean, I'm sure somebody
YouTube. Yeah.
But I mean, like that doesn't count.
Yeah.
That like if it's not officially available, it's not available.
Right.
Yeah. All right. And then subsequently, who is a local person that you're aware of that you have not gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
My friend, I hope I'm gonna set him in this episode. His name's Sam Arnold. He's a very talented bass player. I want to interview him. Win, she's a rapper.
Oh, yeah. I know Win.
You know her?
Yep.
Oh man. She is incredible. And once again, too busy of a life to do my little podcast. No, I was
gonna say she has not responded to my Instagram messages either.
Oh, well, at least I do actually know her manager and stuff. And we've talked several times in person, but she's just, who she is. She's busy.
Yeah.
And doing things out of Portland now. So, but yeah, she's a really cool person. And sticking on the Portland rap thing, I would love to interview Damian Lillard, who's now moved away from here, but he has written music and also obviously done other things.
I think he's good at.
I think he's good at something else.
Yeah, like a sport or something. I don't know.
But mostly music. So he'd be cool. I don't know. There's some people I haven't even reached out to, but I know own recording studios and stuff, and I think I'd really like to interview people who own recording studios and stuff. And
definitely some of my favorite conversations.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Supernatural Sound? That's out in Oregon City. The band I was in years ago recorded there, and the Haugans that place is stupid nice.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot of very large bands, the Decemberists, the Shins, all that. And it'd be cool to hear like some, stories of like those albums that have now gone on to be what they are, and like how was it when it was happening, sort of thing. So
man, when you get an opportunity to talk to somebody who's like been in the world of it for a long time, it's an audio only episode, but I did an interview with Terry from Music Millennium.
Oh yeah.
Incredible. Wow. I'm almost glad I'm almost glad that one was audio only, because there were so many moments where like at the end of his stories, I was just like
mouth open.
Oh, I need to ask a new question.
Yeah.
Like it was just so incredible to like hear like the way he found music, the way he like got into it, how his like journey through Music Millennium happened, like the way the world changed around it as he was doing it. Like there's
it's been open for like what, 30, 40 years.
It's been around for a minute. He's not the original creator of the place, but
okay.
Yeah, I believe he took it over and has since been the primary owner since.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's like fourth or fifth version, I think. Don't quote me on that. Go check out his episode.
Yeah.
You can find out. It's a really cool episode.
Cool.
Yeah. And then for this, we're going to modify this just slightly.
Yeah.
But if you could DJ anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about things like crowd access, building stability, power, you could play whatever music you wanted. It was going to be a great time. Everything was going to be cool and set up however you wanted it. And it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to do it?
I think somewhere tropical would be the best bet. But I recently had a friend go to Greece, and I don't know where they were at, but there's this body of water that it was like a restaurant or a club or something sat on, and there's a booth, like a DJ booth, that sits at the edge of this glass wall that overlooks this amazing sunset. And I'd have to find out where it is, but that would be like the ultimate, like just go. And I don't want it to be like anything big. I've DJed inside arenas and with huge sound systems that are, 40, 50,000 watts, and you got like 18-inch woofers on either side of you, and they're just banging, and it's cool. But I think like as a vibe, like the vibe of having a party in a foreign place where I've never been, and I just love nature so much, like that whole sunset on the water and the skies changing colors of purples and reds and all that is a very wonderful experience. I got a chance to do a private wedding on Lake Pend Oreille last year at a house. House is a loose term. It's like a complex of homes.
A domicile.
Yeah, it's $25 million of different buildings, and it's a compound.
I was going to say, if that's the word I was going for next.
Yeah, compound is my best word description. If you've never been to Pend Oreille in Idaho, it's absolutely same situation. I mean, like there's trees everywhere. There's the lake right there. The lake's 47 miles long. And the sun comes over this ridge and just sits right in the spot. And it gave me the visuals of like a Windows background is what it felt like. It was pristine.
Yeah.
And I was like, are we in a simulation? Is this fake? Like,
is this the real life?
No shit. It felt like that. It was so crazy. And I was like, I can't believe I'm, first off, in such an amazing space. But that is the glory of the earth, right there in front of me.
Yeah.
And so that was a very special time. And I just love to do that in a foreign country.
I was gonna say, if you ever figure out where that place is, let me know. I will go with you and film the whole thing. That sounds incredible.
Excellent. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. And then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, they could have put out an album yesterday. Who would you want an album from?
Do I have to choose one? Because I have two that immediately came to my brain.
All right, you could do two.
And it's all classic rock. It's three came to my brain.
This is the third one, Hanson.
No, it's Jimi Hendrix.
Hell yeah.
Led Zeppelin.
Hell yeah.
And the band Rush, which I guess they're not all alive. So that
unfortunately not anymore.
Yeah. Which would be the hard part to get another album.
I mean, I'm sure like Danny Carey could come in and like dumb it down. I mean, he could not dumb it down, but he could pull it.
If anything, Danny Carey would make it weirder.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He could pull it back just a little bit and get like a good tight Rush sound. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he would be a real cool Danny. I know you're watching.
Yeah, Danny Carey would be the only replacement maybe for that band.
That would be actually, now I really need that. Everybody at Danny Carey and Rush in the comments.
I believe we
need that to happen.
At Danny Carey _tool is his Instagram handle. It's one of those things where it's like Rush and all those bands I just mentioned, Jimi Hendrix and all that. Neil Peart was like my growing up drum idol, still is actually. I mean, why wouldn't he be?
Yeah, like if he's not everybody's to some degree, what are you doing?
And then Hendrix was such a, guitar. I love playing blues. I mean, primarily what I love to play in general. And so that bluesy rock Hendrix 70s sound. I see you have Hendrix.
Oh, not just that. I actually have a cool art piece that's now behind the wall.
Oh, okay.
Fitted into this new setup. But yes, definitely a Hendrix fan.
Hendrix was like my guitar idol growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And Zeppelin, got the best of both worlds with guitar and drums. I mean, Page and Bonham are like the two best to ever do it. And then, John Paul Jones. So you'd say, Zeppelin's like one of my favorite bands. And so I really love those three. If I could get another album out of them, that'd be incredible.
Hell yeah. Oh, and what a time that would be if all three of them put out new albums at the same time. That would be glorious.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for going through that with us. But with that being said, we are going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. What can we look forward to in, say, the next 6 months?
Possibly some new mixes on my SoundCloud or Mixcloud, probably Mixcloud, which I believe is mixcloud.com/DJ RainTree. And as far as the podcast goes, I'm hitting my busy season for work. So my episodes might actually slow down, but I'm putting out some great ones I've already got on the schedule between different professionals in the wedding industry. And I have a guy who does, I guess what you'd say, melodic metal solo project.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, dude, it was insane. He does all the guitar, bass, all the drums, everything. And he's just absolutely a beast. And then there's other bands that I've never met that are like psychedelic. God, I don't want to tell their genre wrong, but it's very interesting sonically.
Are you familiar with Titans of Industry?
No.
You should for sure
get them
up.
Okay.
Great. They've been on the show multiple times.
Okay.
In multiple capacities. Great dudes. Shout out to Titan of Industry. Y'all are the best.
I'll look them up after this for to listen to the music too.
Yeah. Oh,
they're in that weird atmospheric.
They have a really their most recent album, Toy Box, phenomenal. I did a tuned-in episode about it, so it like breaks down a good chunk of it. They dig into it pretty deep, but it is just. It's a culmination of work that has just like stood the sands of time with its creation, and it's a really special album. I think it's one of those that we're gonna look back on in a while and be like, this was it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's also what I love about this podcast is just getting recommendations from people like you and other bands I've had on, and finding cool people to be around.
It's nice being able to have a conversation with people in music about music and like, the things around it.
And so that's what I'm doing the next 6 months is just interviewing more cool people.
And you don't want to interview not cool people.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? Like,
I fear the day that someone comes on and they're just really bland, and I have to tell them like, so I'm not going to air your episode. It never comes up.
I'll say this: I've done over 400 interviews.
Yeah,
and I only have one that I chose not to put out.
Oh, okay.
So.
That's good numbers.
That is, yeah, and I'm gonna and the episode itself wasn't even the problem in the end. I was able to edit out the one. It was all one giant segment.
Oh, okay.
In the middle, like bookended by two phenomenal portions of great interview. I put them together. I was like, hey, and then there was just disagreements on something after that. So I was like, all right. So there you go. A little bit for your side.
A little bit of hope that I'll never have to do that.
Yeah, it's a very small people love to share their stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as long as you approach it with like a level of care and professionalism, they're usually gonna meet you in the middle on that. And worst comes to worst, you're just gonna get somebody who's not super animated. But that's their style, and their audience will probably appreciate them for it because that's their whole thing.
Yeah. Cool.
Sorry, I got real preachy there.
No, you're good.
This one, go and look straight at the camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram.com. My handle is at DJ RainTree. My handle for the podcast is at spinning_around_podcast. You can also just type in Spinning Around with DJ RainTree on Spotify and find me there. I think that's most of my handles on all social media are at DJ RainTree. Mixcloud.com/DJ RainTree, SoundCloud.com/just RainTree. And yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah. All right. And with that being said, I've got, I'm sorry. Any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
No, I mean,
you've named a handful of really cool people.
I just love Never Sunny and Hard Pill a lot.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the boys.
And tons of cool people I've known for years and stuff, but you just keep those ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Then with that being said, I've got one last question to go.
Okay.
But before we do, I'm gonna steal the camera for just a second.
Okay.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary, Round Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation.
Okay.
But in all of music, what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a bit of a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
This is just what came to my head at first.
That's all right. Those are my favorite answers.
So there's a band, I believe, let me just roll down to their Spotify. Oh, they don't tell you. That's always great. They only have 7,542 monthly listeners over the course of their entire career, which I can see started somewhere around 2007, maybe 2005 even.
Nice.
So they've been around for a long time, but they haven't done anything since 2013, I believe. The band's called KK and His Weathered Underground, okay?
Whoa.
I'm going real obscure here.
That is a super deep cut, yeah.
So they have an album, it's self-titled, and you'll know the first song is Into the Realm of the Unknown, okay?
Ooh, good name.
Just a real cool name. It's 13 songs long. You can listen to the whole album in under an hour, okay?
Nice.
It's very psychedelic rock. And it was one of those albums where my friend introduced me to it in 2008 when it came out, and we would drive around and just repeat it one after another. We liked every song on this album. Like, it was like one of those songs that one of those albums you can listen to every song, and I didn't have a problem with any of them. And it just really got me into that. I would like to say it's like modernized Pink Floyd. Because Pink Floyd's like an old band, but these are like dudes who were in their 20s in 2008, and they were doing this kind of weird, trippy type, circusy kind of sounding stuff. For a more popular album, I would say The Bedlam in Goliath by the Mars Volta is probably my all-time favorite album. I got to see them live last year up in Seattle, and it was the greatest show I've ever been to.
I can only imagine. At
the Moore Theater, and I was like 3 rows from Omar Rodriguez.
Oh, damn.
So that was also pretty cool too. But yeah, me and my buddy Brian went and saw them, and that was like, I love music that challenges you to think like about how it's written, how it's there's complexity to it.
Provokes thought.
I'm a musician, so I love things that are in odd time signatures or different modes and stuff like that. So that's obviously all Mars Volta does, and Tool and all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but KK and His Weathered Underground is the most obscure one that probably not a lot of people know, and it's been around since 2008. And then that Bedlam and Goliath by the Mars Volta is obscure to people who listen to pop music.
Fair enough.
But the Mars Volta has been around forever.
Yeah.
Got tons of fans, and so.
Well, those are both 2 super solid recs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, but with that being said, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm DJ RainTree.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.